Let's use this event type in our first rule type. So I'm going to go to rule types and I'm going to create a rule type that I will call car entered rule type. So this is the type that will define the rule that would fire when an asset enters a geofence. Now we can make it so that we don't even define the rule within our system. The rule is defined somewhere externally, and we just respond to the externally defined rules and generate events. We can do that by checking this checkbox and going about setting up generation of events for external rules. That's not what we're going to do over here. We're going to actually define the rule completely within the system. Now we can exclude times when we maybe don't want the rule to even be in effect. So maybe we only care about cars entering geofences Monday through Friday and not on the weekends. And then we can set that up by including a time frame. Again, we want this rule to be in effect always for our example, so we'll leave that unchecked. Now, when a rule of this type fires, it generates an event of this type. The event types that we have available to us, there's only one, car entered geofence. I'll pick that. Now, a rule can either be a state rule or an area rule. An area rule involves location, and a state rule involves attributes that are not location. So I'm going to create an area rule, and I'm going to build this rule type as if I would be building an English clause, so part of an English sentence. I'm going to start with a prefix when, and I can either have this rule apply to assets or asset types. I'm going to choose asset types, and I'm going to choose the asset type that I care about, which is tank car. So when any tank car, and then I can continue building the rule type. Now these checkboxes define what appears to the person that's actually creating the rule later on. So the person creating the rule later on may be able to build a rule that applies to one specific asset type or all asset types, or one specific asset or all assets, depending on these checkboxes. I'm going to leave these checked to give the user that will be creating the rule later the maximum number of choices. Then again, you may want to restrict those choices to help the user not accidentally pick the wrong choices. I'm going to add an inside relationship, which is going to be enters, and the area that will be entered will be a specific type, area types, and even more specifically, storage type, storage site. And again, these checkboxes allow the person building the rule later to have more choices. The more of these checkboxes that are checked, the more choices they have. Now I can make it so that an event only gets fired if the conditions for this rule are persistent for a certain amount of time. So maybe we want a car to enter a geofence and be there for a whole 10 minutes, for example, before an event gets generated. We can make that happen by including a duration. I'm not going to do that. And we can make more complex rule types by using these logical operators and chaining the clauses that I mentioned together. This is our rule type. Let's go ahead and create it. And there you can see the English clause. When tank car enters storage site. So this is a type for rules that we're going to create next.